The wind howled mercilessly across the vast Montana plains, whipping snow into a frenzy that blurred the line between earth and sky, as Jack Thompson, a man whose face bore the deep etchings of 60 harsh winters on the ranch, stood alone in the dim glow of his porch light, the weight of a loaded shotgun heavy in his calloused hands. His breath came in ragged clouds, each one carrying the ghosts of lost dreams, his beloved wife, Sarah, taken too soon by the relentless grip of cancer 5 years prior, his children, scattered to distant cities, leaving behind only echoing silence, and the ranch itself, once a thriving legacy passed down through generations, now crumbling under mountains of dead and failed harvests, pushing him to this final, irreversible moment where the cold steel pressed against his skin promised an end to the unending ache. But just as his finger tightened on the trigger, a distant crash shattered the storm's roar, a metallic screech followed by silence, and in that instant, curiosity overrode despair, drawing him into the blinding white void where fate was about to rewrite his story. If you believe in the power of kindness and the beauty of second chances, hit that like button, drop a comment below sharing your own story of redemption, share this video with someone who needs a reminder that hope can appear in the darkest storms, and don't forget to subscribe to Moments of Love for more tales that touch the soul and celebrate the human spirit. Jack trudged through the knee-deep drifts, his flashlight beam slicing through the chaos like a desperate plea, until he spotted the mangled remains of a small sedan wedged against a fence post, its headlights flickering weakly like dying stars. Inside, slumped over the wheel, was a woman he didn't know, her dark hair matted with blood from a gash on her forehead, her body shivering uncontrollably in the sub-zero chill that seeped through the shattered windshield. She was young, perhaps in her mid-30s, with features softened by exhaustion yet hardened by whatever trials had led her to this remote stretch of highway on such a treacherous night. Without a second thought, Jack yanked open the door, the wind biting at his exposed skin as he scooped her limp form into his arms, her slight weight surprising him, and carried her back toward the ranch house, his boots sinking deep into the snow with each labored step, the shotgun left forgotten on the porch as survival instincts kicked in, overriding the darkness that had consumed him moments before. The house, a sturdy log cabin built by his grandfather's hands, welcomed them with the faint warmth of a dying fire in the hearth, and as he laid her on the worn couch, wrapping her in every blanket he could find, Jack felt a flicker of purpose he hadn't known in years, even as doubt whispered that this stranger might not make it through the night. As the storm intensified, rattling the windows like an angry spirit demanding entry, Jack busied himself with the basics of care he remembered from his days as a volunteer firefighter long ago, cleaning the wound on her head with antiseptic from the bathroom cabinet, checking for broken bones with gentle probes that elicited faint winces from her pale lips, and forcing sips of warm broth down her throat when her eyes fluttered open briefly, revealing irises the color of stormy seas, filled with a mix of fear and gratitude that pierced his guarded heart. He spoke to her in low, soothing tones, not expecting responses, sharing fragments of his own shattered life as if confessing to the night itself. How Sarah's illness had drained not just their savings but his very will to fight, how the bank letters piled up like accusations on the kitchen table, how he'd planned to end it all that very evening because what was left for a man whose world had eroded to dust. The woman, whose name he would later learn was Emily, stirred occasionally, her breathing shallow and erratic, her body fighting against the hypothermia that threatened to claim her, and in those quiet hours, as he stoked the fire and monitored her pulse, Jack began to confront the depth of his isolation, the way grief had built walls around him, turning the ranch into a prison rather than a home, and he wondered if this intrusion of fate was a cruel joke or a lifeline he didn't deserve. Emily's condition worsened as midnight approached, the power lines succumbing to the storm's fury and plunging the cabin into darkness broken only by the fire's orange glow, casting elongated shadows that danced like memories across the walls. She began to shiver violently, her skin clammy and cold despite the layers, and Jack, drawing on half-remembered first aid, positioned himself beside her, rubbing her arms to generate warmth, his rough hands careful against her fragility, while he murmured stories of better days, the golden summers when the fields burst with wheat, the laughter of his children chasing calves at dawn, the quiet evenings with Sarah where love felt eternal and unbreakable. It was during one such moment, as he paused to adjust the blankets, that Emily's eyes opened wide, locking onto his with an intensity that stopped his heart, and in a voice barely above a whisper, hoarse from the cold and trauma, she uttered those words that would haunt and heal him. "Don't stop." Jack froze, misunderstanding her plea entirely, his mind racing to interpret it not as a directive to continue the physical aid, but as a profound command from the universe itself. Don't stop living, don't stop fighting for the ranch, don't stop believing that life could offer second chances even to a broken soul like his. In that instant, the weight of her words crashed over him like a wave, filling the void in his chest with a surge of emotion he thought long extinct, tears blurring his vision as he resumed his efforts with renewed vigor, pressing a warm cloth to her forehead, whispering assurances that they would both make it through, even as the storm outside mirrored the turmoil within. The misunderstanding ignited something deep within Jack, transforming the night from one of intended finality into a crucible of rebirth, as he worked tirelessly to stabilize her, building the fire higher, forcing her to drink more fluids, and even singing old folk tunes Sarah had loved to calm the fever that now gripped Emily's body. Hours blurred into a haze of exhaustion and determination, Jack's own aches from years of hard labor fading into insignificance against the urgency of saving this stranger who had unwittingly become his anchor. As dawn's first light pierced the horizon, painting the snow in soft pinks and golds, Emily's breathing steadied, color returning to her cheeks, and she managed to share her own tale in fragmented breaths, how she'd fled an abusive marriage in the city, driving aimlessly toward a fresh start, her car skidding off the icy road in the blizzard, leaving her at the mercy of the elements and whatever kindness the world might still hold. Her story mirrored his in ways that cut deep: the loss of dreams, the betrayal of trust, the desperate grasp for redemption. Jack listened, his heart swelling with empathy, realizing that her whispered plea, though he had misconstrued its immediate intent, likely a simple urging to keep applying pressure to a hidden bruise or to continue the warmth, had pierced the armor of his despair, reminding him that stopping wasn't an option, not for her, not for him, and certainly not for the legacy of the ranch that had sustained his family through countless hardships. With the storm abating, Jack ventured out to flag down a passing snowplow, guiding paramedics back to the cabin where they confirmed Emily's injuries were serious but survivable: a concussion, frostbite nips, and internal bruising from the crash. And as they loaded her onto the stretcher, her hand reached for his, a silent thank you that spoke volumes, promising that this night had forged a bond unbreakable by distance or time. In the weeks that followed, as Emily recovered in the nearby town hospital, she and Jack exchanged letters and calls, her encouragement fueling his decision to fight for the ranch rather than surrender it to the banks. She shared ideas from her background in agriculture marketing, helping him secure grants and partnerships that breathed new life into the fields, while he offered her a place to heal, far from the shadows of her past. Their connection deepened, not into rushed romance but a profound friendship rooted in mutual salvation, where kindness became the foundation for second chances, and the ranch bloomed once more under cooperative hands, neighbors rallying, his children returning for visits, the land yielding bountiful harvests as if rewarding his perseverance. That fateful night, born of misunderstanding yet leading to clarity, changed everything, proving that even in the depths of isolation, a whisper could echo into eternity, guiding lost souls back to the light. If this story has touched your heart, reminding you of the fragility and beauty of human connections, please like, comment, and share it far and wide. Let others feel this warmth too. And before we end, I have a special request. Comment the line, "Don't stop believing," below if you've ever experienced a moment that changed everything for you. As the sun set over the revitalized ranch years later, Jack and Emily sat on the porch, watching the horizon swallow the day, their lives intertwined in ways neither could have foreseen, a testament to the power of not stopping, of misunderstanding turned miracle, leaving behind a legacy of hope that inspired all who heard their tale.